This video might feel like a personal attack. We're going to talk about how pleasures can be a roadblock on the way to spiritual freedom. And I'm going to say some stuff that might be tough to hear, but I think that we all need to hear. When that happens, do two things for me. First, pause the video. Pay attention and ask yourself, are you feeling upset? Ashamed? Maybe coming up with arguments in your head against me? I'd be surprised if you weren't. When someone points out a blind spot for me, there's always that reaction initially. And then I'll remember that they're coming from a place of love, and maybe there's some truth to what they're saying. And that's the second thing. Not believe everything I say right away. I am just a random guy on the internet. But trust that I'm sharing these things because it took me years of experiments to find freedom. And I want to shorten that time for you. Are you ready? Hi, I'm Ankush. I teach a lifestyle of following the conscience and try my best to practice it. But there's one thing that always gets in the way: the ego. Anxiety in all its forms, fear, doubt, anger, greed, basically creates the ego and defends it. It puts up two shields: craving for identity and craving for possessions. This is me, and this is mine. Today's focus is on craving for possessions, not gadgets or money, but at a deeper level, experiences. Craving tells us these experiences are mine. The experience of pleasure is mine, and I need to have it now. The experience of pain is mine, and I need to avoid it. Okay, yeah, technically some things belong to us, like this shirt belongs to me, but if I'm not possessive of it, it's no big deal if I lose it. I'm not going to waste a ton of time or energy replacing it. I'm not going to hurt someone to get a new one. I mean, come on, it's just a hand-me-down from my dad. We want to see through that possessiveness. We want to always ask ourselves, do I really want that pleasure? Is this pleasure really going to cure that deep dissatisfaction, the reason you clicked on this video? And we want to be honest about the answer. That kind of honesty takes time and action. Action, just giving up one thing, leads to trust in our conscience, and trust leads to more action. And that's an ongoing thing. Even after finding freedom, we constantly have to remind ourselves, this craving will pass. It's hiding the truth right now, but we don't have to act on it. So am I saying that we need to give up all pleasures right away? Maybe. I am saying that true freedom requires renunciation, or giving up all pleasures. But the hard part of the spiritual life isn't knowing what to do. It's finding it in ourselves to do it, and do it for the right reasons. We're skeptical about renunciation because we've seen it done for the wrong reasons. We've seen people say that it's sinful, and that shame us for our desires. But the right reason for wanting to give anything up is love. Love for yourself, and wanting to cure that deep dissatisfaction. Realizing that the cause of that dissatisfaction is not committing fully to the truth, and trusting that freedom goes beyond any pleasure. If this video is enough to build that trust, awesome. Renounce pleasures. But for most people, myself included, there needs to be a bit more proof. For me, the first step was moderation. Not harming myself or others to get pleasure. Not letting it affect important decisions or my work. Allowing myself to enjoy pleasures within those limits and without shame. Then came meditating on them. Noticing the sweetness in every bite of dessert, or the thrill when you play a video game. Last came realization. Realizing that rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender was great, but it was hiding a deep dissatisfaction. One that we all feel. One whose cause is not committing fully to the truth, and to the freedom that comes when we are. That realization isn't the same as hearing it from me. It's not like book knowledge. It's a direct proof by experience. And it's the only thing that can call us to renounce. That call might come today, it might come next year, it might come when you're retired, it might come on your deathbed. Until then, moderation can lead you to more freedom, to more alignment with your conscience. So I'm going to give some general advice, just for two pleasures that were potholes for me in the road. But if you have 100 people, you have 100 different ways of following the truth. There's going to be exceptions. The point isn't to create rules for ourselves. It's to see through anxiety. Drugs and alcohol aren't just potholes in the road. They're like quicksand that our tires get stuck in. They're usually designed to keep us hooked. For me, weed was my drug of choice in college. It was a pretty deadly one, because you can still do work while you're high. So I'd end up smoking more and more until I was addicted. We all judge ourselves and others for addiction, because we create a character around actions. But that character or identity is an illusion. Identity is in our heads, and actions are stuff we do. There's no need to tie them together. Remembering that helps us see past shame for ourselves or for others when we make mistakes, and just follow our conscience. For drugs and alcohol, moderation might not be possible. For me, I couldn't set a limit like smoke only on the weekends and stick to it. It was better to just not smoke at all. If you're struggling to set and stick to a limit, like not drinking by yourself, for example, then it might be better to just not do it at all. Not even as a form of renunciation, just recognizing the reality that this stuff changes our brains. If you can stick to your limits, if you're truly not harming yourself or others, and you can afford it, then moderation can work. It's not really any different from food in that case. Speaking of food, it's another subtle pleasure. It's not going to get us chemically addicted, but chasing tastes can lead to harm. We can harm ourselves by eating too much generally. Eating too little is also a problem, but I'm focused on pleasures in this video. We can harm ourselves by eating too much sweet or processed food. Unfortunately, the stuff that tastes good usually isn't good for our health. And we can indirectly harm others by buying animal products. I'll tell you about some of my diet experiments. I was raised vegetarian, but that was mostly a culture and religious thing, not a genuine commitment for me. So I ate meat in high school and college. We've all heard the stories about what goes on at factory farms. So at some level, I knew that real beings had to be tortured and killed before cows become beef and pigs become pork. But it's just like any other addiction. Anxiety tells us lies that hide the truth. My lie was that I needed meat for bodybuilding, which was another experiment that I had going on. When I saw through that, I stopped eating meat, but I still drank milk. And it took another year for me to see through anxiety's new lie, which was that I needed it for health. All those lies were really just to avoid facing that I liked the taste, and that I wanted to avoid reality, which is that farmers make this stuff, treat animals like products, because we demand it. So I get it. Any change is hard, especially with diet. But we can't find freedom if we know, at some level, that our actions support injustice, even if we're not doing it ourselves. So what should our diet look like? For both moderation and renunciation, sticking mostly to a whole foods, plant-based diet. For moderation, eat sweets and processed foods occasionally. Just stick to limits based on what doctors say. For renunciation, if we want to cook for ourselves, Rondo. For renunciation, if we cook for ourselves, we want to avoid actions that make food taste good, but also not try to make food taste bad. So no sweets, spices, or added flavors. We can add salt if needed for sodium, or to make the food edible. But remember, it's about intention. If your family makes tasty foods out of love, then it might be disrespectful not to eat it. And sometimes we can't avoid processed foods. A healthy diet needs fruit, which is naturally sweet. The point is that we commit to following the truth instead of tastes. This stuff is hard. No one said freedom would be easy. But if you only take away the discipline part, then I should just quit making videos. 90% of this lifestyle is forgiveness. For ourselves and for others when we make mistakes. For when we listen to desire instead of the truth. That's all for this video. Remember, I can only point you to your real teacher, your conscience. Leave a comment below for any questions or concerns. And if you think more people should see this, please make sure to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell. Thanks for watching.